Hi gang, Matt here from the Ask the R podcast. This week we're going to be taking some questions from our listeners that have come in through our Instagram channel. But before we get to that, a quick message from me. Hi gang, if you're listening to this and you've got a tree or ecology question holding up your project, stop Googling and click the link below, and we have an offer where we will help you get your planning back on track. At Rover Group, we talk to homeowners, architects and developers every single day who are stuck, confused, or just need someone to tell them what they actually need. So by clicking the link below, it will allow you to book a phone call. That's it, just a simple phone call. We'll tell you exactly where you stand and what to do next. There's no sales pitch, no runaround. The link will take you to a simple web page that explains the process and offers you a call with one of my team, Peter or Jacob. No Zoom, no tech, just a very helpful booking service. So click the link below and let's get your planning back on track. Brilliant. So what have we got from Instagram? We've got some tree related ones here. So what should I look for in a contractor for tree surgery or protection? Kind of two things lumped together there. That is Brian from Wolverhampton. Brian, the big one really, let's talk about tree surgery first. The problem is with tree surgery is that the barrier to entry is really, really low. All you need is a van, a chainsaw and a hired chipper. However, there's huge variability between the quality of tree work with contractors around the UK. So if there's any tree surgeons listening to this, I'm going to get a lot of stick for this, but I would start with ARB-approved contractors. Now, what that means is the trade association for tree surgeons is called the Arboricultural Association. You can go onto their website, which is trees.org.uk, and that will basically list all of the tree surgeons on there in your local area. You can search by postcode and it will pull up those companies. Now, there is a degree of people paying to get onto that list. It's a very, very rigorous process that you have to go into, which means that it tends to attract a certain size of business. So the other place you could go to something like checkertrade.com. You could go to Google My Business. You could search for businesses on there. Any businesses that have got over like 50 reviews, have a read through them. Generally, I tend to avoid businesses on Google My Business that have got less than 50 reviews because you don't know how genuine they are. These things tend not to get audited. So there's a couple of places you can find a tree surgeon. You can check their qualifications. You can ask to see their insurance certificate. You can ask to see their staff qualifications. You could ask to see examples of previous work, particularly reduction work on big trees, because that's particularly skilled, or really, really complicated tree removals. So that's the big one for me. If it's commercial, you're obviously going to want a risk assessment and a method statement before you start to work with them on site. So that's it for tree surgery. For protection, what should I look for in a contractor for tree surgery or protection? For protection, I've covered that in other episodes, but basically you just need harass fencing around your tree, and that will be specified on your tree protection plan. So you can just reference that and have a look at it. So hopefully that's helpful, Brian. Kind of related to that, we've got. This is also from Brian. I'm getting that Brian's potentially trying to pull a fast one here, because this one says, what happens if tree protection measures are ignored? Well, good question. From a tree perspective, the tree can obviously get damaged. We have what's known as mechanical damage, so that's where the tree or the tree's roots are damaged through being hit by diggers, maybe excavation within the root protection area. We've then got contamination, so this could be where leachates get into the ground, so maybe some concrete mixing, maybe the storage of materials could leach into the soil and damage the tree that way. So that's obviously from the tree perspective. From your perspective, Brian, If you were to ignore the requirement to put up the tree protection fencing, you're in breach of your planning application straight away, which means that it becomes legally enforceable. So they could come out and shut the site down, which obviously means delays. There's the potential for legal issues as well. If trees are shown as being retained on a tree protection plan, they are usually protected by planning conditions, so it's almost as robust as a tree protection order. You could It could lead to redesign, it could lead to planning refusal, it could lead to all sorts of costly and avoidable delays on site. So I would try and avoid that. Susie here doesn't say where she's from, it's just through Instagram, says, when is the best time for pruning? I mean, usually late winter. Most trees can be sort of pruned most year round, and that tends to be the way it works with tree surgeons. It is very dependent on species and very dependent on the site conditions as well. You obviously want to try and avoid bird nesting season, so that's sort of mid to late March right the way through to August, September. It's not a hard stop if the tree surgeon can check the tree for nests and there aren't any birds nesting, because that's the actual offence, then they could still continue. But you want to try and avoid the nesting season. So, I mean, winter tends to be the best time. And then we've got one last one here, which is also related to tree protection on site. And this is from Steve in Aberdeen. Who monitors tree protection on site? It's a combination, Steve. So what usually happens is that there'll be a kick-off site meeting where the arboricultural consultant will act on behalf of the local authority to make sure the planning conditions are discharged correctly. So there'll be a kick-off meeting with your arboricultural consultant who'd be retained for the duration of the project. He might visit once a month, he might have to visit once a week. It just really depends on the complexity of the task. He or she will ultimately be responsible, but the day-to-day will fall on the site manager. So it's the site manager that needs to make sure that tree protection fencing stays in place, that it is respected, it's not fiddled with in any way, shape or form, and they'll basically report to the arboricultural clerk of works. They will fill out records after every visit, and those records will basically go into a site pack, and they'll also go off to the local authority as well. So hopefully, Steve, that is helpful. That is all we've got time for this week. If you've got any questions that you would like answered, anything to do with planning, arboriculture, ecology, topographical surveys, tree surgery, nutrient neutrality, all of that kind of good stuff, then you can send those questions in to us. Or if you need some more general help, I was talking about it earlier in the podcast, you can go to our website, and I make my consultants Peter and Jacob available. They have some time in their diary that they set aside to help people just like you get your planning back on track. So that's all from me, and I'll see you next week.